Pokémon Champions has been out for over a month now, and we've already seen some notable developments in the Reg MA doubles meta. Floette and Charizard Y have proven to be some of the strongest megas, Sneasler's Dire Claw nerf didn't phase it in the slightest, and Garchomp's 102 speed actually feels quite fast, with Fluttermane and co gone. With the deck so limited, you have to wonder how it could be different if just a few other Pokemon were added, so in this video, I want to discuss Pokemon not in Champions that would be great to have back to balance out the metagame. I made a similar video recently, but that was completely speculative since it was before the game came out and it was only about Pokemon not in Scarlet and Violet, so I felt that this video was different enough to be worth making. I made sure to not talk about any of the Pokemon I already covered in that video, and will also be enforcing the rule of no legendaries, mythicals, paradoxes, or ultra beasts. First up is Gastrodon. Weather is very strong in Champions Reg MA, and while Rain is actually not super strong since it's the only weather that doesn't have a mega that sets the weather, counters to it would still be appreciated. The Pelipper Archaludon Basculegion core really hates Gastrodon, with Storm Drain allowing Gastrodon to absorb Pelipper's Weather Ball and Basculegion's Wave Crash that also powers up its special attack so that its Earth powers hit hard enough to one-shot Archaludon. Gastrodon's ground typing allows it to absorb Archaludon's Electro Shot, and its water typing gives it a resistance to Flash Cannon. It hits a somewhat important Trick Room speed of 39, allowing it to underspeed Kingambit, Araquanid, and Farigiraf. While it's mainly used as a counter to Rain, its ground typing makes it workable in Sand since it won't get chipped, and it's also usable as a counter to Sun since its Earth powers can also hit Fire for super effective, although that would only work on Torkoal and Ninetales since Mega Charizard Y is Flying type. While both of these Sunsetters often carry Solar Beam, Gastrodon can live that with the help of a Grass Resist Berry due to its high HP and decent special defense. It still falls to most stab grass moves like Mega Meganium's Solar Beam even with the help of the Rindo Berry, but its role as a rain counter cannot be understated. Next up is Crobat. This is a Pokemon that wasn't in Scarlet and Violet, but I didn't mention it in the other video because it's a little underwhelming in most doubles formats, with its only recent niche being a counter to Xerneas since it can haze away those Geomancy boosts, but in a low power level format like Reg MA, it could thrive as a counter to Sneasler. We've also never had a format where both Crobat and Sneasler are usable, so maybe it would have been good in Scarlet and Violet. Anyway, it walls both of Sneasler's stabs, with its fighting resistance being a quad resistance, and due to it being part poison type, it's immune to one of the 3 status conditions that Dire Claw can inflict. With its primary ability Inner Focus, it won't get flinched from Sneasler, Incineroar, and other Pokemon's Fake Out, with it also not getting intimidated by Incineroar, and outspeeding Sneasler before it gets its Unburden boost. It gets Tailwind for speed control, Hypnosis to spread sleep, a fast non-prankster taunt, Brave Bird for solid stab, and Dual Wing Beat for stab that breaks sashes. It also resists Fairy, making it a decent wall to Mega Floette, although Crobat won't be able to one-shot Mega Floette with any poison moves since the strongest physical one it gets is only Cross Poison at 70 power. What it can one-shot is Mega Meganium, since it has a 4 times weakness to poison, with it also walling grass on top of that. Next up is Magmar. Reg MA only allows for fully evolved Pokemon, except for Pikachu, which gets a pass since it's the franchise mascot, and Floette, which technically is fully evolved since it's only Eternal Floette that's allowed. I assume that if they add back not fully evolved Pokemon, they'll also add back the Eviolite, and Magmar is one of the best not fully evolved Pokemon because of its boosted bulk, access to Follow Me, and access to a few other neat tools. I decided to mention Magmar over Electabuzz, its electric-type brother, for a few reasons. Normally, Electabuzz is slightly better due to its higher speed, access to Electro Web for speed control, and electric typing that gives it a paralysis immunity, one of the status conditions that Dire Claw can inflict. However, Dire Claw's status inflicting chance was lowered, and they both have Vital Spirit for a sleep immunity, with Magmar instead having a burn immunity, which could be good for dealing with Mega Scovillain's Spicy Spray, Sinistcha's Matcha Gotcha, and Mega Charizard Y's Heat Wave. It also resists those last two moves, can one-shot Sinistcha with a super effective Overheat, resists Fairy to help deal with Mega Floette, and has good supporting moves in addition to Follow Me with Helping Hand, Taunt, Acid Spray, Will-O-Wisp, and Clear Smog. Next up is Swampert, specifically Mega Swampert. There are still a handful of old Megas that aren't in the game, like all Legendary and Mythicals with Megas, Mawile, Salamence, Metagross, and all the Gen 3 starters. While Swampert is definitely not the best out of those Megas, it is the one that I'm most excited to have back because of all the new moves it was given in its base form in Gens 8 and 9 that it will have access to in its Mega form in Champions. In Gen 8, it was given Liquidation, Flip Turn, and High Horsepower. Assuming it gets to keep them in Champions, Liquidation is a slightly higher power physical Water Stab move compared to Waterfall. Flip Turn is a great utility option for pivoting that deals decent damage, with it also being Physical Stab, and High Horsepower is great single target physical ground stab in the times where you don't have a ground immune partner to Earthquake next to. You probably will have that though, since Pelipper is a flying type, so you'd be able to spam Earthquakes just fine. In Gen 9, it was given Poison Jab and Knockoff. Poison Jab allows for super effective physical coverage into the grass types that resist water and ground, and Knockoff is just a great move to have the option for, although it's not super valuable in this reg, with Mega Stones being unable to be removed and a lot of good items being absent. Next up is Brambleghast. Brambleghast had a short-lived stint in Scarlet and Violet Reg D and E, where it was a counter to the newly legal Genies due to its ability Wind Rider and the fact that all the Genie's signature moves were wind moves. This ability grants an immunity to wind moves and boosts the user's attack by one stage when hit with a wind move or when Tailwind goes up on the user's side, which also made it a solid partner to Tornadus since it sets Tailwind. While the Genies aren't in Champions right now, two of the top Megas use wind moves that Brambleghast would be able to absorb, Mega Charizard Y with Heat Wave and Mega Frostlass with Blizzard. There's also Pelipper with Hurricane, and being immune to these moves is especially good for Brambleghast because it's weak to Fire, Ice, and Flying normally, but becomes immune to these specific Fire, Ice, and Flying moves from Wind Rider. Unfortunately, those two Megas do usually carry other attacking moves to hit Brambleghast for super effective, with Zard Y usually having Weather Ball and Frostlass usually having Shadow Ball, and Brambleghast isn't fast enough to outspeed them without Tailwind, but in Tailwind, where it also gets an attack boost, it can hit pretty hard with Stab Poltergeists and Power Whips. It also gets Shadow Sneak for priority, and both Strength Sap and Leech Seed for healing, with Talonflame possibly being a good partner for priority Tailwind over Whimsicott so that you don't double up on the grass typing. Next up is Bronzong. The two top steel types right now, Kingambit and Ursaluna, have something in common, which is that they only have a neutrality to Fairy since their secondary types are weak to it. This means that they aren't a great answer to Mega Floette, and while other steel types like Aegislash and Excadrill maintain their Fairy resistance, they're still weak to ground, so they don't have a good answer to Garchomp, and all of them except Aegislash are weak to fighting, so they don't have a good answer to Sneasler. Bronzong has the unique combination of a Psychic dual typing to neutralize its fighting weakness and the ability Levitate to turn its ground weakness into an immunity. It also has great bulk to take advantage of its typing, access to Trick Room, and very low speed to make use of it, Iron Defense Body Press, unlike Ursaluna which lost Body Press, Helping Hand, and both screens. Unfortunately, its best steel stab of Gyro Ball got nerfed with champions forcing perfect IVs, but it does still have Iron Head and Heavy Slam which are solid too. While it doesn't normally use Psychic Stab, since most physical Psychic moves suck, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a special Psychic move to one-shot Sneasler. In return for its fighting neutrality, it has a Dark and Ghost weakness, making it more susceptible to King Gambit and Mega Gengar, which is a trade-off for having a better matchup into Mega Floette, Sneasler, and Garchomp. Next up is Weezing, either Cantonian or Galarian. Neutralizing gas is one of my favorite strategies to use because of how much it warps the game against opponents that really need their abilities, and with allies that either have useless to negative abilities or abilities that can't be nullified. No abilities means no automatic weather setting, so Mega Charizard Y, Mega Frostlass, Mega Tyranitar, and Pelipper will have a really bad time. Mega Gengar can't trap anyone, Mega Kangaskhan's baby doesn't cooperate, Mega Floette gets no fairy boost, Mega Gardevoir's normal type moves stay normal and it gets no fairy boost, no Intimidate from Incineroar, no Unnerve from Aerodactyl, no Armor Tail from Farigiraf, the list goes on. While Galarian Weezing is typically preferred due to its better offense and dragon immunity, Cantonian Weezing has the benefit of a poison resistance, which could be good for walling Sneasler more effectively since both of them resist fighting. They also both resist Fairy, and since Weezing actually has a higher physical attack stat than special, it could one-shot a Mega Floette with an inaccurate but strong Gunk Shot. Some good partners for them in terms of mons with useless, negative, or abilities that can't be nullified include Palafin, Aegislash, and Mimikyu, which all have form-changing abilities, Hisuian Typhlosion, which has two basically useless abilities, and Mega Gyarados, Mega Emboar, Mega Ampharos, and Tinkaton, as they all have Mold Breaker, and it's useless to be able to ignore your opponent's abilities if they're completely turned off in the first place. Last up is Ursaluna Bloodmoon. This was the Pokemon that I was most hesitant to put on this list, not because it's bad, but because it might be a little too good to be considered anti-meta, but rather just meta-meta. It's the same reason that I didn't include Annihilate, Goldengo, Rillaboom, Indeedee, or Dondozo, because sure they'd be good, but they wouldn't counter the meta, they would become the meta. The thing about Bloodmoon Ursaluna though, is that it's another special attacking ground type, only even stronger than Gastrodon, that can pretty easily one-shot Archaludon with an Earth power, since the Assault Vest isn't in the game. Speaking of the Assault Vest, that and a few other of its preferred items normally are not in Champions at the moment, like Choice Specs, Life Orb, and Throat Spray. Its signature move Bloodmoon had a base power nerf from 140 to 130, and Terra isn't in the game, so its normal moves that don't hit anything for super effective won't hit as hard. Because of these nerfs and circumstances that it would be put in, I actually don't think that it would be that good, but rather just a solid pick to balance out the metagame. I was even thinking of including regular Ursaluna, since without the Flame Orb, it really loses a lot of its offense. Maybe I could see a strat with partner Mega Scovillain to intentionally burn it from an Earthquake or something, or maybe it could even start to use Unnerve with berries being so common in Reg MA. And those are Pokemon not currently in Champions that would be great to have back. Let me know what other Pokemon you want to have back to balance out the metagame. Anyway, if you want to support me and my channel, just leave a nice comment. If you want to take it a step further, you can become a member for as low as 99 US cents a month to get a badge next to your name and early video access like all of these lovely people. Shout out to my level 2 members, Luki Skywalker, Zafiro, and Luke Mileto for your extra support. I have a second channel, Extra Bell, where I post unscripted videos and videos I've scrapped from the main channel, and a Twitch channel where I occasionally stream Champions. Likes are also one of the ways that YouTube determines if a video should be passed around to more people, so if you feel that this video deserves to be, I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching.